Thank you for joining me today for Just a Thought. And we're going to begin in Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 7. This whole week we're going to be talking about the fear of the Lord. That's a misunderstood concept today because there's so much talk about the love of God. And certainly that's one of his attributes, but that doesn't define God in completeness. So considering Proverbs chapter 1 and verse 7, the fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. The fear of the Lord is the beginning of knowledge. We need to have a healthy fear of God, a respect towards him, a shaking in our boots to understand that he is God and we are but dust. And it goes on to say, but fools despise wisdom and instruction. And so God is our resource for knowledge. Let's consider a passage over in Psalm. In Psalm 25 and verse 14. In Psalm 25 and verse 14 we read, "The secret of the Lord is with those who fear him, and he will show them his covenant." It's this idea of finding out, what does God expect out of me? What does God want me to do to be pleasing to him? And those people who will fear him and realize that we owe him an allegiance, well, we're going to find out. We're going to go to the scriptures. We're going to find out what that covenant is. He's more than willing to give us that covenant. There are many who do not fear God. They have no fear of God, so therefore they have no respect for any law or guidelines or statutes or covenants. And so therefore they just do whatever they want to do. And that's not good. And so a healthy fear of the Lord moves us to find out what his covenant is, and he doesn't keep that a secret. He will share it with any and all who will seek it and comply to it. Notice over in John chapter 15 and verse 9. Let's turn over to the New Testament in John chapter 15, and we will begin in verse 9. "As the Father loved me, I also have loved you. Abide in my love. If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love." Now, here we are talking about fear, but we have love mentioned. The same with our parents. If we love them, we'll obey. We'll understand that they have authority over us, and in that sense we fear them because of what they can do to us if we transgress their wishes, their desires, their will. And so these two are coupled together, the fear and the love. Notice, as we continue reading, we'll go back to verse 10. "If you keep my commandments, you will abide in my love, just as I have kept my Father's commandments and abide in his love. These things I have spoken to you, that my joy may remain in you, and that your joy may be full. This is my commandment, that you love one another as I have loved you." Now listen, "Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. You are my friends if you do whatever I command you." Now this is somewhat of a shift, that we're moving from the realm of fear. And I'm going to obey because of the consequences of not obeying. I have sought the command of God. I have sought the covenant of God. He's not going to keep it secret. He will share that information with us. And I move from fear to a love. To a love that it's from the heart in which I serve God. Not because of the punishment that would be due, but actually because of what Jesus has done for me. That's what we're going to read here. He says, "You are my friends if you do whatever I command you." No longer do I call you servants, for a servant does not know what his master is doing, but I have called you friends. For all things that I heard from my Father, I have made known to you. You see, he's not keeping it a secret. But what else did he do? He did exactly what he says here in verse 13. Greater love has no one than this, than to lay down one's life for his friends. And that's what Jesus did for us. It moves us from the fear of consequences because we have been found in sin, and into a realm of love and devotion and commitment to God, in obeying Him, keeping His commandments because we love Him. We love Him because He first loved us. That doesn't just cast out all fear. We still understand that if we turn away from God, there will be consequences. And so these two are coupled together. And we're going to be looking at them in a little bit more detail as we go through this week. I encourage you to check in each day, and we'll have a new video Monday through Friday. And we'll still be on this subject of fearing the Lord, but each day we will see a different concept, a different idea, a different perspective of fearing the Lord and the instructions from our great God. Thank you for joining me. Have a blessed day.